Hey everybody, welcome in. If you haven't seen a video of mine before, or if you've never taken a course of mine before, my name is Faz Kareem. I'm with Learnit, and I'm one of the lead desktop instructors, and today I got a very important training for you. A training on Zoom. I'm going to call it Zoom Deep Dive, because we're going to be talking about some advanced features within Zoom in this session. Now, as many of you know, a lot of roles are opening up where we're working remotely, and having a better grasp on the technologies that we're using to host these remote meetings may benefit us in all of our future meetings. So in this training, I'm going to design it to not only me show you things, but also give you chances to practice things. So during the session, during these videos, you're going to hear me say, hey, pause the video. Hey, pause the video and try this yourself. And I'll be right here in the background when you get back. But the whole point of that is just for you to get a little exposure at these settings and these tools and these functionalities with me, instead of doing it in a live meeting and practicing it for the first time. Now, if you do enjoy these videos, please make sure to like and subscribe. If you're looking for any certificates, or maybe you want to watch these videos without any advertisements, I recommend to sign up for Learnit Anytime. It's our online dedicated training subscription service. I'll put the link to that in the description of the video. Now, if you have any questions that you want to be answered by me or maybe other instructors, make sure to join Offsite. It's a great community where you can post your questions. I'll put the link for that in the description as well. Now, as always, if you want to find the PowerPoint deck that's included in this presentation, feel free to look inside the description to get that download. Let's get started, and I want to show you what we'll be covering in Zoom Deep Dive. So, Zoom was actually founded in 2011 by a gentleman named Eric Yuan, a leader engineer from Cisco Systems and its collaboration business unit WebEx. Now, his vision was video is the future, so he actually left and created a meeting system that handled video better, according to him. Let's talk about the topics that I want to cover in this session, because I do have a learning agenda that I want to follow. Now, of course, I want to start out very basic with a topic called getting started and running meetings, where we're going to learn about the two different tools we have, our meeting client and our desktop app. From there, I'm just going to do a deeper dive in our in-meeting controls, and also show a few slides about the Outlook plugin and where we can access that and download it. Now, I'm sure a lot of us are here so we can learn about these advanced features to keep our meetings engaged, where we can turn on polls and interactive features, such as breakout rooms even. Now, in this session, I will also be discussing the mobile app and how that is available for download. And towards the very end, we're just going to discuss some settings and some hidden features that we should know about when using Zoom. Let's get started. A tale of two Zooms, the desktop app versus the meeting client. Let's learn about the two so we know the difference between the two. Now, if you're unsure what a meeting client is, that's actually where you'll attend your meetings. This is where we go. Consider it a virtual office room where we all go to meet each other. And here we have tools available to us where we can unmute ourselves, turn on our video camera, invite others, manage participants. We can enable polling, screen sharing, chatting. We have reactions that pop up on our screen. The meeting client's where you'll be spending most of your time working with others. There also is a Zoom desktop app. Now, you can always download this from zoom.us, but you may already have it installed from IT if you're working within an organization that's adopted Zoom. Now, the Zoom desktop app isn't where you go to join meetings, but it will be used for things like settings, starting meetings, scheduling meetings, or getting an invite text, joining a meeting with an ID, or finding recordings from meetings that were previously recorded. So both The meeting client and the desktop app have very important functions. Now, something I like to do within the desktop app is set up my profile. At the very upper right hand side where it says Learnit, right there, I can actually see I can access my Zoom profile. And from here, if I need to change the settings of my profile, I can click on the drop down and choose my profile. In the next video here, I want to show you what happens when I click on that using my desktop app, just to give you an idea of setting up your profile. So I just want to point out that I'm actually in the desktop app right now. This is not a screenshot. This is me launching the actual desktop app. And it looks slightly different than the screenshot in my PowerPoint deck, simply because of the fact that I'm in a much larger full screen mode. But all the pieces are still there. And the piece that I want to refer to right now is actually my profile, which I can actually access in the upper right-hand corner still. I just want to give you a little tour of the profile settings that you'll access once you click on my profile, because this will launch the Zoom web portal where you can access more granular and advanced settings that you can enable or disable. Let's just show a few of them from my profile. Awesome, so it looks like I can update my photo and even my name if I need to. I have a little edit here. I have personal information that I can set, like a phone number, the language, the time zone. Now, very interesting things that I enjoy doing in my account is you can update your personal meeting ID to something more memorable. You use this when you want to share out your personal meeting ID for people to quickly join in on a meeting with you. Now, keep in mind, these are all editable from the right-hand side where we hit edit, customize, and at the current moment, they're hidden on our screen here, but if we click on that little eye, it'll be visible, which I'm not going to do. I can even update my host key and change it to something more memorable. And I can see the information based about my account at the very bottom here. Now, of course, your sign-in information, if you want two-factor authentication, any linked accounts will be available from here. So this was just a little tour of my profile. If you're wondering how I got here, it was just simply going to my Zoom desktop app and accessing my profile. How about you try it yourself? Go ahead and pause this video, see if you can access my profile, and see if there's certain things you want to change. Maybe your personal meeting ID, your photo, your name, things of that nature. Go ahead and have fun with it. I do want to mention that sometimes things are grayed out based off your admin and your IT. They chose the settings for you and they don't allow you to change it. So if you are noticing some of these settings are grayed out, any of them, doesn't have to just be my profile. Just keep in mind that sometimes IT departments do restrict some of these changes. Give it a try. Be aware of your own environment. Don't forget to come back because there's more than just my profile that I want to discuss. Now, something worth a mention before we move forward is that the desktop app will always have these four icons: new meeting, join, schedule, share screen. However, if you are already inside of a meeting, I just want to mention that that first icon, new meeting, will change, and it will turn into the return to meeting icon. Now keep that in mind if you ever lose your Zoom meeting client and you're quickly trying to find your Zoom meeting window to get back to your screen share or video conference. Coming up next, I just want to start talking about a little bit of joining meetings, like how the invitation looks, what are the pieces of an invitation, and what happens if you don't have the Zoom desktop app. Is there a way of joining Zoom via a browser? What's the best browser to use? We'll talk about these things next. But first, I just want you to spend some time playing around with your Zoom desktop app. I want you to try joining a meeting, and once you're in a meeting, I want you to go ahead and acknowledge the fact that your desktop app icon has changed to return to meeting. Go ahead and give that a try. Don't forget to come back. because I want to start talking about joining meetings and how those meeting invitations look. Let's spend some time talking about joining Zoom meetings, like how the actual invitation looks and what pieces are available in the Outlook invitation or that email invitation that you may receive. On this next slide here, I actually have a screenshot of how an invitation would look via email. Now, there may be other parts of a message that come included with this invitation, but when you have a Zoom conference, you will have these pieces in the invitation. Now, the very top will actually allow you to access the meeting via a meeting link. And it's actually showing you the meeting ID inside the link here, as you can see. Now, keep in mind that some hosts will enable a password when scheduling the meeting. The password can actually be found in the meeting invitation. Now, everyone besides the host is going to need the password. There also is an option for my mobile users, the mobile one tap, or you can join in by phone and you can enter in the meeting ID. Now, don't get me wrong, you can also paste this link into a browser and hit join. If you have the Zoom app, it will launch it, but that's not required. What I mean by that is not every organization allows their colleagues and employees to just download any application. So Zoom allows others to join in via a browser. No download needed. Now keep in mind when a user does click your invitation and they're trying to join your meeting link, whether it's via the invitation or they're copying and pasting it into a browser, they'll get prompted with the message. And if they don't have Zoom downloaded, they have the option to download and run Zoom. Some organizations don't allow this. But at the very bottom, if you cannot download or run the application for any reason, you can always join via a browser. It's worth a mention, though, that not all browsers are the same. Now, there is limited functionality when using a browser, like the gallery view doesn't work and you can't really annotate on a screen share. But if you take it from me, a good method, or a good browser, I should say, to use if you are having to go this route, would be Chrome. Now, Chrome does have the most features compared to all the other browsers. So keep that in mind when considering a browser or messaging your clients or externals to join your meeting that may not have exposure to Zoom. A quick little tip, Chrome is the best browser to use in Zoom. Now, don't get me wrong, if they don't have a desktop app, or for various reasons they can't join via a browser because they're on the go, you can use the mobile application. Now, the mobile application is available for iOS devices and Android devices. It works great for joining meetings. I wouldn't technically use them to host a meeting. It's not great for leading the meeting because I can't launch breakout rooms. I also can't launch any polls, which are things I kind of want to do if I'm hosting a meeting, especially if they're large meetings or long meetings. So, when you do decide the tool you want to use to join the meeting, whether it's the desktop app, the browser, or your mobile device, the first thing you're going to be asked to do is choose your audio setup. It's one of the first things that pops up when you decide to join a Zoom meeting. Now, you can choose one of the audio settings, but the very first tab, the phone call tab, allows you to find the dial-in information, the meeting ID, and you can go ahead and give a quick call in. You also have an option to use computer audio. This is the most common one I use because I'm usually using my computer microphone and speakers. If I have multiple devices connected to my computer, I typically click on the test speaker and microphone so I can have a drop down to choose between my microphones or my cameras that I have connected to my devices. Now, one of my favorite audio setup choices is the Call Me feature. Now, the Call Me feature is extremely useful In a situation where you quickly need to get on the phone call, you can type in a phone number and it will give you a call to join in the Zoom meeting. Now, I do want to recommend that you can actually save a default phone number by checkmarking "Remember this number" on this computer. That way, the next time you go to call me, you just hit "Call me," and it'll give you a phone call and dial you into the meeting. Extremely useful when my audio is getting choppy because of my bandwidth or my internet connection. I'll just quickly switch to the "Call me" setting and have it call me on the phone, so at least my audio is coming through nice and clear. A quick tip, a recommendation if you're ever going through that in a Zoom meeting. The "Call me" feature, even the phone call, but the "Call me" feature, once it's set up, makes it really easy to do so. So, various audio setups, various ways to join meetings. What I want to start talking about next is how to start a Zoom meeting. Before I do that, I want you to do a little practice. How about you quickly launch a Zoom meeting using your account? It's okay if it's just you inside the meeting invitation. But I just want you to click on a link so that you can see the audio setup page. Now from here, I just want you to add in your phone number to the "Call me" and checkmark "Remember the number" on this computer. And make sure this is a device that you use regularly and it's not a library machine or a computer that many people access. Go ahead and pause the video. I'll be here when you get back. But do try the audio setup. And you don't have to be firm on the "Call me" feature, but I just want you to browse between phone call, computer audio, and "Call me." You may even want to test speaker and microphone setting for the computer audio setup choice. But don't forget to come back. I'll see you soon. We'll be talking about the 4 ways to start a Zoom meeting. Welcome back. In the previous video, I did ask everybody to just practice joining a meeting and setting up their audio setup and putting the default "Call me" number and check marking to remember the phone number on the computer. If you haven't done that, that's okay. Maybe you decide to click on this portion of the video and continue. But that is a very useful step, and if you want to go revisit that previous video to watch how we can do that, go ahead and do that now. But in this video, I want to start talking about the 4 ways to start a Zoom meeting. And I'm actually looking at the Zoom desktop app. In case you're wondering why my screenshot looks so different, is that I'm now looking at the screenshot in something called, or I'm using the desktop app in something called portrait mode, which can actually be found inside of our settings, or more specifically, our profile. You can quickly change it to the portrait mode as opposed to landscape. It just moves a lot of your settings and tools and navigation pane to the very bottom of the desktop app, as opposed to the top where it was originally in our previous screenshots. In fact, here I will pull up my Zoom desktop app. Here it is, my Zoom desktop app, and I just want to go over to my profile, and I'm going to change it to portrait view as well, just to give you an idea of what I meant by that. So as you can see, this is the portrait view here that I changed from my profile. If you do like this better, or if you have a smaller laptop screen, go ahead and pause the video and change your profile to the portrait view as well. It just moves things down to the bottom and makes it a little bit smaller and more manageable for you. Now let's talk about the 4 ways to start a Zoom meeting. Now, a very common way is going to zoom.us, logging into your account and scheduling a meeting. Or you can go to zoom.us and download an Outlook plugin. I know many organizations do opt in to use Outlook as their email client to manage their incoming and outgoing emails. Outlook has a plugin that works with Zoom, so you can schedule your meetings directly from your calendar. You can download that plugin from the Zoom web portal as well. You can also send someone your personal meeting link. Does everyone remember how in our profile, when you go to my profile, you have a meeting link that you can set? You can even change the meeting ID of the meeting link to make it more memorable. You can share that as your personal meeting link to have people quickly join in your personal meeting room. Or in previous screenshots, there's an invite button in the meeting client. In fact, let me pull that up. Let me find a screenshot with an invite button here. There we go. This screenshot has an invite option here. We can invite people directly from the meeting client. No need to step away from it. Now, last but not least, you can also click on the new meeting option in the Zoom app. Now, up next, we will be talking about some meeting controls within the meeting client, but I just want to talk about a few bullet points on this slide. I want to show you how I can access the Outlook plugin download and a little bit about how I can use it within Outlook. Let's go ahead and see that in just a second. So I'm actually inside of the Zoom web portal. I've signed into my account. I can see my profile up there. I've signed into zoom.us, or you can just click on my profile from the desktop app. It'll launch you to here. But I've actually gone over to a different tab. I've gone over to the Meetings tab in zoom.us. And the reason why I'm in the Meetings tab is because I want to show you an area where you can download the Microsoft Outlook plugin. Or if you're using Chrome, you can download the Chrome extension. Now, this allows you to add Zoom meetings directly to your calendar. I do have the Outlook plugin on my Outlook desktop app. In the next video, I just want to show you a little sneak peek of how that looks and how it would look when you're scheduling a meeting from the Outlook plugin. So once you do have the Zoom plugin for Outlook, you'll actually be able to schedule your Zoom meetings directly from your calendar tab. Now I'm over here in the calendar area, and there is a new command group called Zoom in Outlook, allowing us to schedule a meeting or start an instant meeting. Makes it really simple to schedule a meeting directly to your calendar here. And this way it'll synchronize with Zoom and your Outlook calendar fairly quickly. Now here's where I can choose to use my personal meeting ID or generate a new one, require a password, and choose video and audio settings, and even go to advanced settings like choosing a co-host or enabling a waiting room. Now keep in mind that I can set this on a per meeting basis. However, some of these settings, not everyone, may be disabled and grayed out based off your organization's admin settings, where they choose and set the settings for you. So don't be too upset if you can't edit your dial-in. Maybe that's already chosen for you. Or maybe don't be too upset if you can't edit your audio or video settings, because that may have been chosen for you. However, this is a pretty good time. You've seen both pieces. In the previous video, I showed you where you can download the Outlook plugin for Zoom. And now in this video, we saw a little sneak peek of how we can schedule a meeting using the Outlook plugin. I think before we talk about meeting controls, you should pause the video and try getting the Outlook plugin or the Chrome extension and practicing scheduling just one single meeting using that Outlook plugin. It may be your favorite way. It is mine. Go ahead and give that a go, but don't forget to come back, because I do want to just spend a little bit of time talking about our in-meeting controls coming up next. Now, I was reading a book about effective meetings, and your meetings are only as effective as the technologies you decide to include in them. And you also have to be trained and prepared in those technologies as well. Now, Zoom is a virtual conferencing tool that allows you to use things like annotation, which may be mimicking a whiteboard, unmuting and muting, which may be mimicking a conversation, using a chat thread to have a one-on-one. Now, these are all tools that are available inside of a Zoom meeting. However, just like all technologies, you may face technical issues at times. I don't want you to worry too much in a Zoom meetings when things aren't working the way they should. That happens all the time. And there's a million and one reasons of why it may be happening, but I have a tip for you before we get started with these in-meeting controls. If you ever experience your unmute button or mute button is not working, your video camera is not connecting, any of these features are not working for you, the chat box isn't sending your messages, close the meeting window and rejoin. Might be a little hard to do if you're a host. You have to reassign someone as a host and then come back in and get assigned again. But the best thing to do, instead of figuring out or wondering why your Zoom occurrence is not working at this current time, is just to close the window and rejoin. That's the simplest route to take. 90% of the time, leaving the meeting and joining back will fix any of these weird problems that you'll face. Now that we got that covered, let's talk a little bit about our in-meeting controls that we have available. Now keep in mind that when you're not sharing your screen, the bottom of the screen is where we'll find our in-meeting controls. And I've actually kind of zoomed into it here on the slide. Now, of course, the very first thing we see starting from the left-hand side is the mute option and the start video or stop video option. It's very important to know how to unmute yourself or mute yourself or get connected to your audio devices in the middle of a meeting or your video devices. Now keep in mind I have a special tip for this mute and unmute. If you hold down the space bar in Zoom, it will temporarily unmute you while you hold it down. Extremely useful when you have to speak up in a noisy environment. Now ideally, you typically have your microphone on mute until it's time to speak up, just to avoid any distractions or background noises. If you have a video camera, it is polite to leave it on, and just to make sure to maintain eye contact within the camera. Keep in mind there also is an invite button. In case you need to invite someone to the meeting, you don't have to hop into Outlook to send them that email. We also have things like managing the participant list, where people can rename themselves by hovering over their names. The host can make people into co-host or allow recording. I can see here the host has turned on polls as well. You may not have that yet, but that's something you can turn on inside the Zoom web app, which we'll talk about in a little bit. Now, what's a meeting without share screen options, where we can share a whiteboard, any screen that you have connected to your device, or just a desktop application in case you don't want to send any sensitive information. We also have the chat. Now, the reason why I like the chat is because you can save the chat directly to your computer. We'll talk about that in a little bit. You can also direct the chat, if the host hasn't disabled this, to single users or to the host himself, herself, depending on who's presenting. I can see here I have a record option. Looks like recording has been enabled for this account, and I can record the meeting. And they've also turned on breakout rooms. Now keep in mind, if you have a smaller screen, some of these items may not be available right in front of your tools, because they'll be tucked away in a setting called More. And that usually happens when you have a smaller screen and you're presenting. A lot of your settings will be found in the More drop-down. Kind of hides them from you, but they're still there and available during the meeting. Now, something else worth a mention, in the meeting client at the very upper right-hand side, we have the speaker view, where we can put all the focus on the speaker, or we can switch it to gallery view, where we can see all the attendees at once on one screen. Keep in mind, it's not available in the browser. Now, if you do click on that chat option, there's a lot of hidden little gems in that ellipses for the chat, where I can save the chat, or as a host, I can choose how the attendees interact with the chat. Now keep in mind, there also is a file upload option if I'm using the desktop app, not a browser. I also have a manage participants option, right? Now from here, if I hover over anyone's name, I can ask them to start their video, I can chat with them, I can give away my rights and make them a host, or I can just assign them as a co-host. Now something to be cautious of is removing participants. This will actually block them from the meeting. I'd much rather put them in a waiting room if they've joined a little early and you weren't ready for them. Now keep in mind, if you do have your camera on, it's important to look good on camera. We can do that very easily by just having front lighting. Usually lighting behind the camera enables front lighting, and to keep the camera at eye level or a bit above eye level, but certainly not below. Now keep in mind, when you are sharing your screen, when you click that green option there, a lot of your tools move to the top of the screen. However, you have a share your desktop option, and if you have more than one monitor, you'll actually see screen 1, screen 2, or screen 3. If you have a screen 4, you'll see that there too. We also have a whiteboard option, because we have annotation tools that we're going to play around with in this session. But it's nice to see that we can quickly launch the whiteboard. And we can annotate on that. You can also save that as a picture. You can allow people to annotate the whiteboard or just you. I can also choose to share an application. Now the benefits of this is I won't have any secret messages or notifications popping up that might reveal sensitive data. Now keep in mind that when you are sharing your screen as a host, you do have these options that you can use. Right next to the share screen option, before you started to share your screen, you can choose to click on some advanced sharing options, like how many participants can share their screen at a time. I typically only have one participant at a time. I allow all my participants to share their screen in case they need to show me something. But sometimes I like to give myself the chance to override someone's share. In case they decide to share their screen in the middle of my presentation, I can quickly go back to my screen share and override theirs as a host. A very important note to pick up is when you are using Zoom and you're sharing your screen, your meeting tools will go to the top of the window. And it might even be hidden from you, like the slideshows with the green little bar, but once you wiggle around your screen, you will see your meeting tools available. And when you share your screen, your videos will pop up in a floating window. We call it the People Gallery. Inside the People Gallery, we can actually change various layouts. We can see everyone in bigger squares, smaller squares, or just a single square, or just their names. It all depends on your screen size. Now, we're going to demo this in just a second. We also have annotation tools. I'm going to join a Zoom meeting and show you this in just a second. But you also, as a participant of a Zoom meeting, can annotate the presenter's screen. It's under your view options at the very top of your screen, where you have annotate. Now, sometimes the host will disable this, so you don't have the feature available for you. But by default, it's there. Extremely useful to have an annotation tool inside of a meeting in case you're sharing a document or you're quickly wanting to point out things within a document. I want to remind everybody, both as a host or a co-host or an attendee, you can all annotate on the screen. Now in a second here, I just want to go into a Zoom meeting, share my screen with this slide deck, and show you how I, as a host, can access those annotation tools. I recommend you do the same when I show you that. Let me go ahead and in the next video pull up a Zoom meeting where I can access the annotation tools. And hopefully you can practice that for a little bit too. Now, a meeting tool that you can enable is the recording option. Now, you have to do this from the Zoom web app. Once you sign into the Zoom.us, you can actually access your settings from the left-hand side. Under Recordings, you'll be able to see your recording settings. And you can turn on local recording, and if your organization account permits it, cloud recording as well. Now keep in mind that once recording is enabled, you can actually access your recordings from the recordings area. If I go ahead and show you that here, I'm going to click on this tab. I can see my recordings in my organization will be stored for about 120 days. And I can search by topic or meeting ID from the recording list here. I can share it or get a download. Now, if there is a transcript file for the recording, that will also be available for the download. Now, keep in mind, although I am showing how to access your recordings and how to turn them on using Zoom.us, that's what my screenshots show. I also want to mention that you can access your recordings directly from the desktop app inside the meetings area where you can find your recorded content. And this actually just takes you to the same area on the browser page, but from your meeting desktop app. Fairly useful, many routes to get to recordings, but I just want to remind everybody that you first have to turn it on. And once you turn it on, that's when you'll see the tool. And once you see the tool, that's when you can access your recordings from the web or the desktop app. Before I have you practice this, I just want you to see how a meeting looks when it's being recorded. There's several indicators that let you know that a meeting is being recorded, like the fact that in the upper left-hand side, this is what the host and co-host see. They get to see the ability of pausing and stopping the recording. And all the audience members get to see who is recording based off the indicator from the participant list that we have. This is the meeting client. There's just no shared screen yet. Now go ahead and practice enabling recordings, seeing if you can launch one recording, and then you can access the recording. When we come back, I want to start talking about how we can split off our meeting into smaller meetings known as breakout rooms, where we can have them come back to the main meeting window once a small discussion is done. Great experience for these larger meetings and to keep your audience members engaged. Go ahead and practice the recordings. Don't forget to come back. I'll see you soon. So I'm over here with the lawyer dog, and we have to annotate the contract together. And lucky for me, I'm inside of a Zoom meeting. I'm actually currently sharing my screen. It says that at the top, and if I hover to the top, I can see my meeting tool like we discussed in our previous slides. There's also my sharing options. Now, as a host, I'll be able to see, as the person sharing my screen, I should say, I will be able to see the Annotate tool directly from my toolbar, but sometimes it is hidden under More, depending on how many tools I have enabled for this account. Let me go ahead and launch the Annotation tool here, because it will pull up a nice toolbar where I can choose to select to use my mouse, select items, or build a text box, or just simply draw on my screen with various drawing tools. I even have a stamp where I can stamp, point at things, check mark things, X things out, or put a question mark near them. Or just simply spotlight and point things out to the presenter as I'm viewing their screen. Now, a lot of these tools are useful, but keep in mind that if you ever have someone drawing on your screen in the middle of a presentation and you weren't expecting that, you can always go to the clear option. And you can always choose to clear all the drawings or just your drawings or just all the attendees' drawings. I'm going to clear all the drawings here. I'm going to close this toolbar for just a second, because if you are experiencing this during a meeting where your attendees just constantly are using the annotation tools and you weren't expecting them to, I highly encourage you as a host or a co-host to check out your security button. In the security button, I actually have a quick setting to toggle off, annotate on shared content, or simply suspend all participant activities temporarily. I also like mentioning that this annotation, if you do have something that needs to be saved, can be saved. I have a save button, and it will automatically save it to a folder in my computer known as Zoom with a screenshot. Very useful. So, let me go ahead and clear these drawings on my screen. Clear all drawings. I'm going to close my annotation tool. Before we talk about recordings, I just want you to open up a Zoom meeting, join in yourself, and see if you can annotate on some shared content, or maybe annotate on the whiteboard instead, where you can share and annotate a whiteboard here instead. Let me go ahead and show you that really quickly. This is my whiteboard where I can share and annotate. I'm just going to draw a quick little smiley face there. Now keep in mind, the whiteboard also has settings here and multiple pages that I can add. Extremely useful, and here I can go ahead and save my whiteboard as well. Great collaboration tool, I'll tell you that, but it needs a little practice before you have it up and live and running in a meeting. Go ahead and do that now though. Practice using whether it's the annotation tool on a shared screen or on just the whiteboard like I did there. Now keep in mind, you can do this whether you're an attendee or the person sharing your screen. But the location where you access the annotation tool is a little different for both. Let's spend some time talking about breakout rooms in Zoom. It's great to get the attendees in breakout rooms because it's the most engaging feature. I've noticed it's fairly confusing for people that have first used it, and it usually amounts to some sort of anxiety when people have to use it, I've noticed. It's considered to be one of the most complicated features, so I like to do it early on in the meeting, but it's very simple once you get the hang of it. There's just a couple of screens you have to fill out. Now, before even launching a breakout room, your account has to have them enabled. So on zoom.us, when you sign into your account, I actually have to enable breakout rooms, and that's one of the settings that we have. In fact, I have a tab here for the settings. I'm going to go to the My Settings tab. And for my meeting settings, let's see our meeting settings here. And once you click on the settings and you navigate to the In Meeting Basic area, or more specifically In Meeting Advanced, right at the bottom of In Meeting Basic, you can see that breakout rooms is something that has to be enabled. Now you can also do this with polling, since we're going to be talking about that next. I also want to mention that as well. In our In Meeting Basic is where we have polls. And I can see that I already have that enabled, and it's locked by admin. I can't even turn that off. In Meeting Advanced is where I have breakout rooms to enable, and this allows me to use these tools within my account. So enabling advanced features is important. Otherwise, those buttons won't be there in your meeting tools when you go to use them for the meeting. Go ahead and pause this video and see if you can turn on the breakout rooms and see if you can turn on the polls, since we're going to be talking about that in a little bit as well. And then don't forget to come back, where I'm just going to show you a few slides of how it looks to launch a breakout room, and then you can go ahead and practice yourself. So now that we've turned on breakout rooms, you should have the option available in your meeting tools or under the More. And when clicking on it, you'll get the choice to assign participants into a breakout room automatically or manually. Based off how many participants there are in the room, you'll see how many participants there'll be in each breakout room. Now, as the host, when you're launching this breakout room, a little window will appear. It will show you the breakout rooms that you've created. Here I have 2, breakout room 1, breakout room 2. And at the very bottom, I have these options that I can choose for the breakout rooms that I'm creating. Like I can move all the participants into the breakout rooms automatically. I can choose when the breakout rooms will close, and even have a countdown timer to not alarm anybody when the breakout room closes. If I'm not happy with the placement of the people in the automatic split, I can always move people by hovering over their names and choosing what room to assign them to. Now keep in mind, once I'm happy with the room assignments, I can click Open All Rooms, or decide to add a new room if I need to move participants into a separate room. Once I hit Open All Rooms, I will see a message box saying In Progress, and it'll show me all the participants that have joined or are about to join the breakout rooms. Now keep in mind, as a host, you do have the option to broadcast a message to everybody within the breakout room and close all the rooms all at once in one click. Go ahead, and before we move forward, I want you to practice a breakout room, joining a meeting, and try to launch a breakout room. Even if no one goes in it, just going through those windows and seeing the options that you have available. And when we come back, since we've turned on polling, I want to go ahead and do a quick little demonstration of how I can access polling from Zoom and where I can go to create my polls as well. Go ahead and practice breakout rooms though before we do this. Let's talk a little bit about polling, where we can build a survey or a quiz and collect responses from our attendees. Now, a host or a co-host can launch these polls, but only a host can launch the breakout rooms. We did talk about how to turn on polls in a previous video. You have to do that on zoom.us, the web portal. But once it is on, you can actually create polls for any upcoming meeting or your personal meeting room. Now, I have a screenshot here, but let me really quickly open up a browser where I'm on zoom.us, my meetings. But I currently don't have any upcoming meetings, so I can't build a poll for any meetings that I don't have upcoming. So let me just demo this by using my personal room. When I click on this option, I get to see, instead of the details of the personal room, a setting for polls. Upon giving that a click, I can create a poll for my personal meeting room and just fill out the questions and the responses. Now, if I hit save here, I've now created a poll. It's untitled. I could have given it a name. Let me go back and edit that poll. Just going to give it a name. I'm going to call it the poll of polls and hit save. So it looks like I can have 50 polls per meeting. So my personal meeting room can hold 50 of them. Now keep in mind, if I ever need to collect the responses for these polls, all information for meetings can be found under the recording area, all the files associated to it. I can also search for my polls as well, and I can download just the poll responses. Now, before diving into this, I just want you to give you a chance to practice creating a poll. So remember, in order to create a poll, you actually have to do that for a meeting that's upcoming, or you have to use your personal meeting room. And from here, you can access the polls. Now keep in mind, a quick little shortcut to access polls would be to use your desktop app and to quickly access your profile, and then from there going down to the meetings tab. Quick little shortcut to get to this page. Go ahead and try that out. We will be talking about, coming up next here, let's pull up the slide. Settings. Just be talking about the settings that we have available. Not too much left, but very important details that we should cover to finish off the Zoom deep dive session. Go ahead and practice polls, create one, play around with it, see if you can launch it in a meeting too. But when we come back, we'll talk about these settings that we have. Let's talk a little bit about the settings. Now, we have learned that we can log on to our account using the Zoom web portal. You can also click on the settings icon from the desktop app and click on View Advanced Features. This will launch the Zoom web portal for you as well. Now, the Zoom web portal will have those more advanced settings like breakout rooms and polls that we learned about in our previous videos. Now, keep in mind, the desktop app doesn't let you look at all of the settings, but you can always go into the back end and view them from the Zoom web portal. Now, one setting that's worth a mention is delegation and allowing other people to schedule Zoom meetings on your behalf. I have a set of slides that show this, but very easy to follow along if you wanted to turn it on for yourself using the Zoom web portal. Because I can actually access this directly from the settings, and under Other, the very last tab on the page, I can see scheduling privileges. And here I can see anyone that has scheduling privileges assigned and who I have scheduling privileges for. Now, in order to complete this process, I would then go into Outlook, if I'm using the plugin, and under my File tab, which is known as the Backstage View, I can access my account settings. From there, I can delegate access, and if I need to, I can add a delegate. I can choose what settings they have permission to modify, and at what level they can modify, and click OK. Now, this fifth step here is letting me choose the settings for my delegates, and at the current moment, my delegate can only but send a copy of a meeting request in response to me. I highly recommend this just so you're aware of what delegates are doing, and you'll be receiving them in your inbox. Now, if you do need to access delegates or turn on delegates, pause the video and go through these two steps. One, using Outlook if you're using the Outlook plugin, and also using the Zoom web portal to turn on the delegation access from the Zoom side. Now, when you come back from that, that's going to be the conclusion of our video. I do want to thank you all for taking part in the Zoom deep dive session. In the comments, I just want to hear one or two things that you found useful. What are some top takeaways that you have? And let me know other training sessions that you might want to see in the near future on our channel. Friends, my name is Faz. Faz Kareem. This course was brought to you by Learnit. Be sure to check out our website and other videos. I wish you all happy health and happy learning. Take care, everybody.